We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 2119. Today, Jill and I are talking about the role of land due diligence in avoiding costly mistakes in your land acquisitions.
Cool.
All week this week, Jill and I are talking about helpful land acquisition rules we didn't really realize that we live by.
Love it.
We asked one of our staff members to come up with the podcast titles this week, the topics that Jill and I are going to talk about, and they're good topics.
I know.
It's stuff we do automatically. I didn't realize it.
True. It's kind of like we always say, we run out making this look easy, and it's not that easy. There are a lot of moving parts. You have to know that. And due diligence is so important. This is where if you screw this up, it could make or break your business. Seriously. If you overspend on a property and you start losing money because you overspend, think about that. You're not going to survive.
You know what I realized after 10 years of instructing Land Academy, that due diligence is a big mental block for a lot of people. I didn't fully realize that.
Well, you know what I find, and it really well, you know what? I'll save it for the show.
Each day on the show, we answer a question from our Land Academy member Discord forum, and we take a deep dive into land-related topics by popular requests.
Okay. Mark wrote, I wanted to get some feedback on mailer approach. If you have a target of, let's say, 10,000 units for a given month, would you hone in on a location and send all 10,000 to a single county/area, or spread it out and send like 2,500 in 4 different counties in 4 different states, for example? Has anyone found a higher conversion rate in one approach versus the other? Or does it not really matter how scattered the mailers are, assuming they all pass the red, yellow, green test? It's just about total mailer quantity. My strategy over the past 2 months has been to send weekly mailers targeting a different county each week as the responses trickle in, and I get some deal flow in a particular location, which will further increase my knowledge there, build relationships with brokers, title companies, etc., i.e. get smarter about a certain area, and then double down there with additional mailer volume. Curious about how that compares with others, what's worked and what might be spreading too thin. I like to think that if I send a mailer that just doesn't work for that area, I haven't wasted as much brain damage or dollars on it. But my concern is if I spread the mail too thin, I might not be giving that area a strong enough chance. What a smart observation.
I sure agree.
And questioning this just to make sure I'm focusing and looking at this the right way.
You are doing everything right, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning of this portion of your career, I would spread it all out just like you did. You know, there's diversification is one of the pillars of investment. Mm-hmm. And so diversify, this is exactly what we do, again, under the guise of I didn't know I was doing it.
Exactly.
Many, many years ago, I sent out tons of mail all over the place. And then naturally, certain places just became more profitable and easier for us to deal with. So what you're doing is duplicating that in modern day times with the great numbers. Mm-hmm. If you continue to send out the mail that you're sending, you're going to do incredibly well.
So you're happy with at least 2,500 in an area?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You know, and then, you know, what's going to happen is 2,500, you mentioned yield, 2,500 in one area is going to yield a lot of deals. 2,500 in another area may yield none. You just don't know how it goes. And then over time, you can get better at, just like you said, get better at one area and develop it, expand on it, different acreage sizes, move into different zip codes and, the
product types.
Yeah, product type, exactly. Moving to mobile homes and stuff. Jill and I probably make the majority of our land each year in about 4 markets.
And like what we've experienced and you've done over the years is like, there's a few areas that you're going to stumble across, Mark. You're just going to hang out there for a while. You know, you'll always keep doing your fill in the blank zip code because that's been so profitable and your team is so great. And then you're going to do the other 3 areas and new areas, and it's going to be it'll happen.
Jill and I joined forces probably 15, 16 years ago. And there's markets that, just what you mentioned, because we're always trying to new areas. There's markets that we've developed since she was completely in control of handling the phones and the sell side piece of it all. And we still send mail there and I don't know what goes on. She buys properties and resells it. She's much, much better. There's some markets that I've been doing this for 30 plus years and I know a little bit more about.
It's funny how that happens. Things that we just don't know what goes on. Like truth time. I'm right now going, what the heck? And how much volume did you just send to fill in the blank area? Because what I thought we did and what actually got sent were very different numbers. So I'm catching up with that right now. I'm going to send just as much and then whoop. Here's what comes.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a disconnect at times.
Sometimes.
Between that moment when I say this mailer's done and that may or may not get communicated to
that wasn't exactly
my business partner.
No. Thank goodness I can rally. It's okay, but it's
Jill's vaguely describing something that she's going through right now.
Right now today.
On the phone.
Yep. Right now.
Will we do a deal?
Oh, well, of course. But, just right now today, it's more than I thought was coming at me. It's going to be fine. It's good. I'll see you in about a month. You know what? Maybe that's January too. Jack's ulterior motive. I'll keep Jill busy. Is there some, not that I would ever say no to any camping, motorcycle, fishing, you fill in the blank weekend you want to go. I heavily encourage them. You don't have to make my phone ring off the hook. So I cannot participate, by the way. Good one.
Today's topic, the role of land due diligence in avoiding costly mistakes. Here's the rules that we live by with land due diligence. Jill and I together devised over the years something called the 8 A's. And it was, again, something we kind of did. We just put the A words to associate what we were looking at from a due diligence standpoint. Anyway, so let's start here. First A, alive. The person that you're talking to on the phone needs to be the person that's on the deed in general. So buying property from, it's very common to have the daughter of a person who's deceased and the deceased person's on the deed. The daughter say, well, it's in the will. My dad left me everything. We have to undo that from a legal standpoint. So alive is a big issue. Doesn't seem like one. Let's go every other one. Adjacent.
Okay. Well, adjacent's yours. You came up with that one.
Adjacent is when you're looking at an acquisition candidate and you're staring at it and you've got all the computer screens and the maps and all that stuff open, what's going on with the immediate properties around it? In general, this is going to tell you what the highest and best use is of your target property. And it's also going to tell you from a value standpoint, if you got a ranch over here and a vacant piece of property over here and a little subdivision over here, the values of all those properties really make it, it's telling you what the value of your acquisition target is. So adjacent's really important. It's also
on the sell side. We're going to say that too. It's
also super important if there's nothing going on from an adjacent standpoint. You should be a little bit concerned about the resale of the property.
Right. When I'm selling properties, this adjacent is really, really important because I can point out to the new buyer, look at all these ranches all right around here. They've already solved the water. They've already solved the power. They've already got all that figured out. So you can see it. So it's really nice.
Access,
legal and or physical. Preferably when you're new, you want both, right? Legal access. Is there a road? Is it platted? Is there legal access to the property? And then physical that's great. There's a road there, but no one's driven it for 100 years.
Well, can I get there?
It was platted, but no one even finished the road or filled it in. What's so funny?
Access is, can I get to the road?
Well, that
can I get to the property?
Can I get to the property? So yeah.
Acreage, larger is better, almost always.
I always look at it did you mail, when the acreage comes back, is it what you were looking for? If you were doing infill lots and you got 10 acres, it's not going to work,
Affordable is my way of saying does the economics of the deal generally work? So all the other properties around it have been valued at $150,000 and you have a signed offer in front of you at $30,000. Yippee-ki-yay. Mm-hmm. It is affordable. Attributes. What's cool about it? Is there a stream running in the back? Is it close to the Grand Canyon? Some of those things that, I used to explain attributes like this. If an average family in Japan can understand when they read the posting, when you go to resell it, like it's close to Las Vegas or amazing ranch in northern Wyoming or something that's really identifiable to a large audience in general, that's what you want, attributes. And then the last two are about you, not necessarily about the deal. And we added these, I guess, recently.
Last year or so.
Are you afraid of the deal?
Yeah. Your gut.
I put this in there because every single deal that you review from a due diligence standpoint makes you a little bit better at reviewing deals and better at due diligence. So if you're afraid, you should be really afraid of what your first deal. That's why you have us. That's why you're part of the Land Academy crew, because you're a little bit afraid. You don't know. Mm-hmm. So that's what this whole episode about is, avoiding costly mistakes. And then finally, abundance. Abundance is one of my favorite. Joe, you can explain it better, I'm sure, than I can.
When you have 20 deals coming at you this week versus 2 deals coming at you this week, you're going to make different decisions. That's abundance. Abundance says, whoa, it's going to be easy for me to spot and pick the best ones versus, when I have 2, I'm looking at it, I don't have abundance. So I'm like, well, between the 2, I guess this one's better. You don't want to be in that situation. You want to have, I always tell people, as crazy as it sounds, I know it's going to be hard, but trust me, it's so much better. You want a fire hose coming at you because then you can't screw it up. You will make sure you'll line up these properties. And this is what we have done. And we have a template. We have an Airtable template that we share within Land Academy. It has all the 8As in there so you don't miss one. And when you're filling in the properties and when the calls have come in and you're reviewing them all now, doing your due diligence, you can easily at a glance see and the cream will rise to the top. This one has all the 8As. This one has 7. This one has 3. This one has 1. Then you're gonna make really good decisions because you have that many to choose from. One of the points I wanted to make is I see a lot of people doing, and it really concerns me, is subbing out due diligence. There's a ton of that going on in social media. Like, hey, do you have a good due diligence person? Like, why would you do that? This is very scary for me. I can see parts of it, like they can check boxes about access. No kidding. They can check boxes that, alive, like the seller's name you got and the deed lines up and it's, all this stuff. Okay, get it, but when it comes to the nuances, like, and they could probably do adjacent if you give them some parameters and say, give me a screenshot of what you saw as adjacent. But a lot of the other ones, I'm concerned acreage they could do. But the whole point of it, though, is it's too easy for me. I wouldn't sub it out. When you get going, like an experienced, like I know we've been doing this for decades now. It's real easy to say, I'm 5 minutes into property. I'm like, I see it or I don't. And then after that initial 5 minutes, now I move it forward to phase 2 due diligence. Yeah. That's where I spend some time on it.
Phase 2 due diligence is use. Okay, great. I love the deal. It passes my test from a phase 1 due diligence, which is the 8As. And now I'm going to move on to phase 2. Can I use it the way I think I can? Because if so, I can build on it. The utilities are there. Those are my phase 2 due diligence. And I know I can sell it for what I think.
Or if there's some things that you need to further for clarification on, that's phase 2 also. Like, I think the zoning allows whatever. I'll figure that out in phase 2. Kind of thing. That's part of what you're saying. Or I think they're alive and I can undo this. I'll figure that out in phase 2.
Let me tell you a story. It's a regurgitation and Jack's interpretation of a story from one of the members of the Career Path alumni. Career Path is the name of the mastermind class that Jill and I teach once or twice a year. Probably 20 or so people. And a few years ago or a few sessions ago, a person joined Career Path, and he is a very successful land wholesaler. Jill and I don't condone this, and I don't agree with this approach, but I want to explain to you how the role of due diligence forces some people into a different place. a place where you shouldn't go. This person sends out hordes of mail, which we all should do. And it comes back. The mail comes back. He does not perform due diligence. He gets the property for the price that he sent out in the mailer, correct, as we all do. He then has the seller sign a purchase agreement or an option to purchase. In his case, he doesn't actually buy the property. And what he does is he has a machine that he has set up where it sends out, hey, we've got this property for sale. He doesn't own it. He just has an option to purchase. Mm-hmm. If somebody ends up paying what he's asking on the sell side, then he goes ahead and puts it all together and makes 10 grand on a deal. Mm-hmm. Could have been $100,000 spread, could have been 18,000. It's wholesale. If you're in this business, you know what it is. I hate this. I hate wholesaling. Well, I know Jill does too.
It's quite a team though too. I kind of wonder, I'm like, that gets expensive because there's a big team doing all this behind the scenes.
Jill and I had the opportunity as instructors of Career Path to ask a lot of questions about why. And after asking and asking and asking, this was his response. I'm not comfortable in my skills. I'm paraphrasing. In running due diligence. I don't know if the land is worth it or not. I let the market decide. All I want to do is make $10 or $15 or $12 or $15,000 in the triage, and I want to get in the way of the real estate deal between the actual real buyer and seller. And so if you avoid this, if you are not avoid learning what due diligence, how to do it, and it's not good. Mm-hmm. It's not as hard as you think. And it's one of the main reasons I believe people join Land Academy, so they don't make costly mistakes. Mm-hmm. They ask us every week on Thursday. Jill and I host our Thursday member call where we invite people to do what we call now, would you do this deal? Mm-hmm. And we assess the deal. We say, heck yes, we would do it. No, we wouldn't do it. Here's why in great detail for a couple hours every week.
Or this is the new price, then I'll do the deal.
Yeah, fantastic piece of property. You've got it signed at $50,000. It needs to be $20,000.
Yeah.
Join us tomorrow where we discuss why emotional decisions can kill your land deals. I love this topic. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.